Hello again and welcome to our Women Today table discussions. I always get excited every time when I come at this table. You know what? Because every time I come here, I leave here empowered. I leave here with energy. I leave here not knowing what to do with myself. So I'm very excited today. And today, the reason why I'm excited because I am joined by none other than Jessica. From my sister's place in Middlesbrough. Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming to our Women Today table discussion. It's such an honor to have you, and thank you so much to extend your hand and to leave your time to come and be with us. So thank you.
Absolutely.
So you know my name, and tell me about your name and what it is that you do.
So I'm Jess. I work for my sister's place doing community development.
Okay.
And I'm going out in the community and training up ambassadors to be equipped of how to deal with disclosures,
Right.
where to signpost, much like yourself, signpost into different services, and just empowering women, really.
Right. I like that because I've actually joined for that one. I've signed for that one so that I've become one of the ambassadors, which is really good. And so my sister's place, and I like the fact that you came with these flyers.
Yes.
Tell me more about my sister's place, because we could be having women or men that are listening right now to our table discussion, and they want to know what is my sister's place and what is it that you guys do.
Okay, so my sister's place was set up in 2002 with just a handful of people working there, just helping women who are subjected to domestic abuse. But since then, we've expanded so much just because of the need in the community. We help male victims now as well.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's
so
good.
there's the specialist support for men. We also have a perpetrator program for men as well.
Wow, okay.
So
is that like a new...
Yeah,
thing
so
that
this
you
is
have?
the leaflet for, it's called Route 2.
Right, okay.
And it's sort of addressing like their behaviour.
Right.
If they, spot that they're potentially being abusive, then it's, tackling the issue from
That's really
the
good.
root cause.
That's really good because I think we always talk about empowering women or talk about the issue of domestic abuse. And I think we're discussing earlier on about, we have to sort of like get to the root of it. We can empower women, but if the man who's actually the abuser is not getting the help, then we're not really going anywhere. So this is actually good, the route too, that we're now sort of like dealing with both things at the same time. This is really good. So that means men also can access the help as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is the perpetrator program for men. But then, like I say, we help male victims as well.
Right.
We also help children now as well.
Yeah, wow.
So we've got a young people's service for 13 years old.
Wow.
Like challenging toxic relationships and what's a healthy relationship and things like that. And then we also have children's therapy.
Right. Okay.
So if they've sort of experienced the abuse, either witnessing it or hearing it, or like they're a victim as well. So we recognise that, and we have children's therapists. We have 2 at the moment. But then we also raise some money to have some specific mother-daughter work. Okay. So that's going to be coming in the future. So like mother-daughter getting therapy together and hopefully rebuilding relationships.
I'm now getting excited already. And we haven't even gone so far because I didn't know about all this, and I think there's so many people they do not know, because I've known about my sister's place, but actually I have no idea that you're covering a lot, because what you're saying here is you're helping the children, you're helping the men, you're helping the mothers, so it's like everything in one place. Whereas, so this is quite interesting, because somebody who's watching right now, they can go to my sister's place and they can get the help for the husband, for the children, as well as for themselves. And you and me knows that during the lockdown, domestic abuse just went so high on another level. And we had a lot of people that actually gone through that. What sort of challenges did you guys experience during the lockdown? Did you help a lot of people? And I know because it was difficult, we had so many of our Black African women have gone through domestic abuse, and some of them, they didn't even have enough money to get, to have mobile phones to get in touch with services like yourselves. And it was just a lot going on, especially now. And I was listening to the news 2 days ago where there was a report about women who have been in destitute homes, and, they don't have, the homes are not really nice at all. So this issue of domestic abuse is just going through a lot. We just had a a lady in Africa who is celebrated, massive lady. She's a worshipper. She's just been killed through domestic abuse. So it's one subject that's really close to our heart, especially us as women. And I think today we're going to tackle a little bit about that. What sort of help do you get to the women if they come to you, or how do they find you?
So I think by now we are on pretty much all of the social media, so I think that's a really easy, accessible way to find us, like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, everything like that. If people want to just look at us from afar and see if it's for them, and they can find out what we help with, and then when they actually do come to us, we can help with all sorts of things. So our main sort of immediate support service is called the IDVA service, which is Independent Domestic Violence Abuse Advocate or Advisor, interchangeably. And we'll help like with like going through the court, going through police. Like, we're an independent service, but we will like stand alongside you to make it a little bit less scary. Put all your options out there, and then you'll be able to choose like what you want to do. So we're more just empowering you to make like informed decisions and choices, and like liaising with like solicitors and things like that.
Oh, so you cover all that,
like all those areas we like tap into.
And I think that's people don't actually know, because we have people who are refugees, migrants, and sometimes when they come in and they're so scared to say, if I report my husband, who is the breadwinner, if I report my husband, if my husband is going to be taken and he's the one who pays for the bills, he does all this, I'm going to struggle. But I like the fact that you can actually help people to get housing as well, which is something that I wasn't aware of. So you work with different housing groups as well, to signpost people.
Yeah, exactly that, signpost and stand alongside. So we don't have a refuge ourselves, but we have access to the national database of refuges. And so we can like immediately, if someone's in crisis, we can look at the refuge spaces available, and help them get, you know, somewhere safe to be. And also we work with all different housing groups. So you're not just leaving people, it's actually helping, because I think that's one thing that people don't actually know about, and that's the reason why we are having this discussion today, to sort of like raise that awareness, to say, look, if you need help, you know, you guys can provide that help as well. Talk to me about counselling as well, because I can see on your flyer here, you also provide counselling services for people going through trauma and abuse, low self-esteem. So talk to me more about that. So our counselling service is it's just got massive. Like I said, we help children now as well, children's therapy, but for the adults therapy, it's like really trauma informed, like specialist counselling. A lot of the other counselling options in Middlesbrough, the waiting list can be quite long, and people don't want to wait. They need, you know, if they've plucked up the courage to come and disclose to us that they've, you know, been subjected to abuse, they want help like right away most of the time. So our waiting list isn't as long as other services, because we are very specialist in terms of its domestic abuse, it's trauma informed. But we do so many different therapies tailored to like your experiences. We do like telephone therapy, in-person therapy. So talk to me about your procedure, like how, if a person calls you, what happens? They call you and say, I need help. What's your procedure? Because I think it's important for the women to know this is the procedure, because sometimes it can be quite scaring for somebody, because they don't know exactly what they're getting themselves into. Of course, I mean, I can imagine it's so daunting to like pick up the phone and have that conversation in the first place, especially if you don't know what's then going to happen. So if you called us and asked for, like, you would self-refer, we'd call it self-referral. So you'd self-refer into service, and then that would be picked up by, depending on the risk level, if you were feeling safe in your property, or various different things depending on that situation. You would then like come onto our system and get a call back from like our duty team. Like it will get triaged, if that makes sense. So then basically someone will just call you back and discuss what your situation is, what you feel like you need help with. Do you need to know your options? Do you need to, like, would you like us to put you in touch with a solicitor, or do you just want us to give you a number and you can ring them? Like, do you feel comfortable to do that? Do you need help with like your property where you are, like if you want extra like precautions on that property, we have something called the sanctuary scheme, which is
I can see that one here.
Can see that there. So that's about adding like extra protection to property so that you can stay in your own property.
Okay.
And basically we just speak to the woman or man now and just see what they want and what they need that we can help with. Instead of us coming in and saying, well, like do this. It's not about that. It's got to be what you need.
And I'm going to go there slightly because women today, we empower mainly Black African women, women who have migrated from different parts of the world to come and live in this country. And some of them, because of where they've come from or some of the experience that they've gone through, is having that confidence to approach organizations like yourselves.
Absolutely.
So within your organization, I think what we are doing today is sort of like try to break that barrier and I know it's not just different organizations called the BME, they're hard to reach communities, and I understand the term hard to reach, but then for us we know that there's the number of issues where maybe they don't know exactly where you guys exist, because I remember when I came here 20 years ago, I didn't know about some of the services that are there. I was just new in the country. And I know some people, they might not be able to access your services because they don't know exactly where you are. And I think it's having that confidence and knowing the place where you are. And again, cultural barriers as well. Do you within your organization have any Black African women that have come to you? Because the reason why I'm asking is because I know there's so many women that have gone through abuse within the BME community based on the number of women we work with. But then you ask them, have you been to this organization? They say no. And so we're trying, and we know that organization like My Sister's Place, you guys do an amazing job, and we know that. But it's trying to figure out why is it our women are not coming to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what I really want to do as part of my role, why I'm here today, is because I really want to engage the community, the whole community. And so as a white person, I will never know what it feels like to be a black person. Woman, that's just how it is. But like I want to do everything that I can do to hopefully come to those communities and say, this is where you can get support, come with me, like come in and we'll help you.
Thank you so much for that. To be honest, not many organizations are like that, and to be honest, we don't take this lightly, and it's really good. And I think it's one thing to remain at a level where we say, oh, these are hard to reach communities and women to My Sister's Place is here. And then it's another thing to do something about it, because most people just talk. But I like the fact that today we're sat here doing something about it, and you taking your time to come and be with us here. So we really appreciate that, and thank you so much. And we're hoping that through this discussion, we're going to have so many women that can actually come to you and say, look, this is where I am and I need help. So I want to sort of like explain more. I want you to sort of like tell us more about what My Sister's Place does. I know we've touched a bit about the sanctuary scheme, the counseling scheme, and I know there's a lot of support that you guys do. I sort of like want us to go to the deeper root of the things that you do, so that people can have the good understanding of what My Sister's Place is, and because I know somebody's going to be listening to this video and they'll go through and say, look, if you're going through this, My Sister's Place is here, because tell me more about that.
So in terms of our main support, like I mentioned about the IDFA team and what they do, and I mentioned that they like liaise with like going through the criminal justice system and things like that. So if you were to have to go to court, whether it be child contact or you're going like pressing a prosecution forward or whatever, we can help you, we can come with you and like act as your advocate. So we can in My Sister's Place, the building, we have a room that's specifically for video link to the court. So the woman wouldn't have to go to court, they can do it from the video link room in our building, so then they're not having to go close to the perpetrator.
Scared to go,
and rightly so. Or we can have like separate entrances and exits, so that you're not having to like face them, or like the curtain that comes across, which I'm sure you'll have seen on like TV shows and stuff, like having that like barrier there. So that's in terms of like the IDFA side of things. And then in terms of community, like even survivors want to get involved like after they've like come out of that and recovered and
help
healing.
Other people,
so that's where I come into it, and like this program that I'm doing called Ask Me.
Okay. Have a look.
Have a look at there.
Okay.
It's a community project training up ambassadors, and we're hoping that by doing that we break the silence so that people speak about it more and it's not a taboo subject, because if we keep it hush hush, then people are going to be hurt more.
Yes, okay. Wow, I like that.
That's where that's from early intervention right the way through to support.
I like this. This is good. And if you're listening and you're watching and you want to get yourself involved into the Ask Me and become an ambassador, get in touch with us, and then we can actually give you the contact details, and then you can be in touch with Jessica, and then you get to know more about this ambassador, because we need more ambassadors so that we can do more work. You know, one person cannot do much, but if you come along and join this one, we'll be able to do more. I like this one.
Yeah.
This is good. I'm definitely going to become one of the ambassadors.
Good. I'm glad.
Which is so good. I like the fact that here on your flyer, you work with the police crime commissioner for Cleveland, which is so good, because we are hoping to have a sit down discussion with them, because most of our women, and you know, some of them, including myself before, I used to be so scared of the police. Every time I hear the police, because of my own experience, you know, people's different experiences with the police, sometimes these can be a barrier as well. And I think it would be really good to talk about what does the police do, because somebody might see police and they're like,
back away.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, and that's understandable, because a lot of the times, we know that women often report to the police and then have a distrust because it doesn't go anywhere, or they then like back out of it because they're so scared. And it takes a lot of courage for people to get involved with the police in terms of reporting and seeing it through. But that's where we come into it. So we're independent from the police, but we will work alongside. And just for an example, if there was like a really high risk case, we can work with the police to share information and best practice, and hope that we can safeguard that individual the best we possibly can. But for cases that are like less risk, less risk level, everything that we do is confidential.
Right. Okay.
So people don't have to worry about like other services finding out information without their consent, or the police finding out information. Like, we are independent from that, even though we do have like funding from them for certain projects.
That's really good. That's really good. In terms of help with the culture awareness within your organization, I know it can be really challenging. Because culture can be really a barrier as well. Yeah. And I think that's one thing maybe we hope to work with My Sister's Place in terms of like culture differences. You've got somebody that's like, okay, from Black African community, and they come to you and sometimes you don't know what to do. And I think this is something that we're going to be working together along and working together to help each other, so that you can understand some of the culture barriers, because they do exist and it does stop people from coming to yourselves. Do you have or have you helped women from BME communities?
Yeah, we have helped women from BME communities.
That's good.
I know that there's like another service in Middlesbrough that is more specific for BME communities, but we
is that the Halo project?
The Halo project, yes.
Yes.
But we do offer help to everybody in the community. We'd like to be as inclusive as possible, but I think it's about us as white women educating ourselves on how to do that properly. Just personally for me, that's what I'm trying to do at the moment, is
and
understanding it more.
It's so good, because if I know as women today, we just, we specialize in Black African women. But I know when talk about domestic abuse, it's not just about a Black woman thing. Anyone, whether it's white woman or Black woman, they actually go through that. And so, which is really, and we really celebrate and support and salute organizations like yourselves, because we really need these organizations, especially now. And now, especially now, because of so many things that are going through, people are suffering in silence, quiet at home. They don't know who to talk to, what to do, what advice can I get. So I want you to look at that camera for me, which I know is good. And you're gonna be, hello. Look at that camera, and the reason why I want you to look at that camera, and I want you to talk to somebody who's listening right now, to myself and to this discussion. and tell them about, look, if you're going through this, we're here. This is what we do. And, we can get you help. And some of the signs and the symptoms that they're going through, because some people could be going through, like I can see in here, there's feelings of loss, depression, mood, anxiety, self-esteem, confusion, and self-harm. We could be talking to somebody who's currently going through that right now.
Yeah.
I want you to say something to them.
Thank you.
If that's all right.
Yeah, of course. If you are going through domestic abuse, or you're not sure if you are, if you have any concerns at all, if you're feeling low, please contact My Sister's Place. Our website has all of our contact numbers. We're on all the social media, and please get in touch, because we can help you and we can be here for you.
Oh, that's amazing. And again, I know I'm going to ask you to talk to the camera as well. Tell them a bit about the Ask Me.
Yes.
Because the more we have more ambassadors, the more we can do a lot in terms of this as well. Yes.
Exactly. Because the more ambassadors we have, the more that you're out in your little communities, and you can raise awareness for us, on behalf of us, and for the women who are survivors. So the Ask Me scheme, it's free to come on, and you can do it on Zoom, or you can do it face to face. Like we have face to face ones as well, and it's a training course that has information about myths around domestic abuse, how to start conversations, how to stop victim blaming. It might just be as simple as like not laughing at sexist jokes that your friends make, or like having a little challenge now and then if you feel comfortable to. And ultimately it's a course where everyone comes together in the same space, hopefully with the same ideas. Yeah. And just share ideas of how we can work better, like working in different community spaces. Okay. There's an activity on Ask Me where we do a community map, and we jot down on Post-it notes all the different communities we're a part of. And I love that, because there's things on there that I've never heard of, and then we can share ideas. And I'll go along to that coffee morning and I'll put a poster up, and someone might just see it and know they can come to My Sister's Place for help. And
again, you can learn from each other as well. So this one, they Ask Me, does it have age limit? Is it just for female? Or is it just for male? Or anyone can come?
Whatever gender identity you are.
I feel the passion when you're talking, which is so good. So how long have you been doing this? Like, how long have you experienced?
So we've only actually been doing the Ask Me scheme for a few months now.
Oh, hey, really?
Yeah, so it was happening before the lockdown, right? But then when COVID happened, we just went back to like basics of supporting women. There was nowhere in the community that was open to really to sort of put on training, because there was restrictions in place. Yeah. But then as the lockdown lifted, so we're back onto it now in 2022. Okay. And we just want as many people as possible.
So after this one, like, is there a continuation of like doing this, or it's just a one-off thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to go on throughout the whole of this year. Okay. And after you've done the training, we've got like fundraising events, raising awareness events that you can then be a part of. So you can like volunteer for us. In like a casual way, as an ambassador with that knowledge. So,
okay. Well, that's really interesting. I think that's good. It's actually good to know that organizations are doing something as amazing as this, because again, people might not know that you're doing something so great. Going back to the children, because you support the children. Yeah. What sort of support do you give to the children? The reason I'm asking is because many women go through abuse, and the reason that they don't report their husbands, and when you report abuse, the social services involved. Yes. They're coming to take your children. And every time when somebody hears about social services, in their head they know they're coming to take my children. Yeah. So it's another reason for them to keep quiet. What support do you give to the children? What can you say about that in terms of the social services and the help you give to the children?
I think that's such a good point that you made about social services, because I'm sure they want to change their own like sort of perception, because people can be just straight away worried that they're going to have the children taken, but that's not the case. Social services are there to help and support, and keep the children with the family if that's possible. Yeah. But in terms of like what we can do is just like empower the mother to sort of do what they can. So I'm going to talk about the children's therapy in a minute, but first I've just remembered we've got a program called the Freedom Program, and that's for survivors to go on.
Okay.
And it was actually, the Freedom Programme was actually written by a probation worker called Pat Craven, and she worked with perpetrators very closely.
Right.
And they started divulging their tactics, if you like, of how they were abusing their partners. So she put it all into a book. It's called Living with the Dominator.
Right.
And it's a quick read. I read it in like a few hours because it's just like, it just explains it so clearly, the different types of abuse. You've got things in there like the bully, the liar, the bad father, the sexual controller, the list
and
goes
the financial
on.
As well,
Financial, like everything. Yeah. And so we've put that in. So we deliver the Freedom Programme, which is like an educational programme that has all these survivors in a room, and they talk about these different tactics. And a lot of the time, it's quite eye-opening to people that go on. It was when I went on it, of just like, oh wow, you've hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what's happened to me, and it's not my fault. Because it is absolutely never the victim survivor's fault at all. So I just wanted to mention that because it's an amazing programme.
Wow. I think it's good because, and I'll let you talk about that as well, because I like what you mentioned there, that sometimes if you're going through abuse, it's very easy, especially to feel like it's my fault. And many women, they don't report that because they always feel like, oh, it was my fault. I upset him, and so he reacted the way he reacted because it was my fault. I did this for you, and I did this, and that's why he reacted like that. And I think it's important that women knows that it's never their fault, or even a man, that it's never their fault, because you can't control somebody else. When you get to a place where abuse is there, and we were talking about this earlier on, I say, run for your life. Get help, because people are dying, and people are dying. But I'll let you continue in terms of the children as well, then we can touch that.
Okay. So for the children, I said we have 2 children's therapists at the moment, and so in our building we have a specific room. It's called the family room, and it's really bright colours, and we've got toys and games and books in there, and that's where the children's therapy takes place. It's not as simple as just sort of calling up and getting the children therapy with that one. With that program, you have to be referred through like a specific pathway. I think it might be like health or social services or before. So it is more like niche at the moment, but as we grow, like I said, in 2002 we started off with like a handful of staff, and now we've got pushing 40 staff. So I think as we grow, we will be able to offer like more and more support
on the children as well.
Exactly.
I was so happy when you mentioned that there's also support for the perpetrators, for the abusers. Because we were talking about, we can empower women, we can tell them abuse is wrong, we can say a lot of things, but if we don't get to the root of things, then it becomes very difficult, and then this thing can just continue. Tell me a bit about the support you give to the abusers.
So you can self-refer to Route 2 programme, and our details are all on the website. If you have recognised that your behaviour is unacceptable, or that you're causing your partner like distress, and you want to challenge that and you want to change, then that's what Route 2 is for. Also, people get referred to Route 2 through like social services and things like that, and they'll go on the programme, and it's an educational programme again, similar to the Freedom, but for perpetrators, if that makes sense. So if you think the Freedom programme is for survivors and it's empowering, the Route 2 programme is for perpetrators, and it's about tackling their behaviour and changing it, and how to respect and how to behave appropriately, and things like that. And we've had quite a lot of success with it, of people.
Wow, that's really good.
So it's really important.
I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I believe in God, and one of the Bible verses that my people perish because of lack of knowledge. That's what the Bible says. And so it basically means when you don't have the knowledge, when you don't have the information, it's easy for you to go to suffer, to perish. But then when you have the knowledge, when you have the information, you're empowered. And I like this one because people are getting the information. They're not going to perish, in terms they're not going to suffer. They're not going to go through, oh, I'm going through this, but now they're getting this knowledge, and now they know my sister's place is there. I can get this help. I don't have to suffer. I don't have to go through this, because you guys are there and you're doing an amazing work. And so I want you to look at the camera again. I know we're going to have like friends in the camera. And then tell the people, anybody who's watching right now, and say, this is where you can find us. In terms, you mentioned about the Facebook or Instagram, and tell them your telephone number. If somebody they really want to get in touch with you, where can they find you guys?
Yeah. So our telephone number is 01642 241 864. Please just call us Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. So unfortunately, we're not an emergency service, so we are closed on weekends.
Okay.
For any emergencies, if you feel unsafe where you are, please call 999. But yeah, get in touch with us if you want some support around any of the things that we've mentioned today. And you live in Middlesbrough, we will be more than happy to help you. There's other services, so if you're not in Middlesbrough, like if you're in Stockton, then it would be Harbour.
Right, okay.
If you're in Redcar, then it would be Foundation.
Okay.
So you can find your local service.
So you just cover Middlesbrough only and then so somebody who lives in Redcar, if they get in touch with you, you can actually refer them to other different organisations as well.
Yeah, if they just know us and they're ringing us, but their postcode falls in Redcar, and then we can just tell them Foundation.
Okay.
Number, email, whatever it might be.
That's good, because I like the fact that you guys are really connected to other different organizations. You're connected to the police, you're connected to the social services. So it's like somebody comes to approach you and then you can actually refer them to other different organizations, because it can be very scary for somebody to approach the police, especially when a woman is being abused by a male, and then you find that a male police officer comes into your house. That can be really, really scary as well. So that's why there's some of the barriers that people might not be able to approach, to approach the police or even to get in touch with the social services with the reasons that we've mentioned about. But I like the fact that you've got everything in one place.
Yeah.
Everything in one place, and you're doing an amazing, amazing job, and continue to do that. And anything that you have, anything burning that you want to say before we...
Have I mentioned everything that we do? Also, we have a project called Iris Project, which is similar to what I'm doing with the Ask Me, but it's training up GPs and doctors. So I just wanted to mention that, because if you do go to a doctor's practice in Middlesbrough, there are several that are now trained up, and I don't have all the names to hand, but there's several that are trained up and they know how to signpost to my sister's place. So
wow.
Yeah, doctors as well.
Amazing. Thank you. You're very experienced. You know your job very well. And thank you so much for coming to join us today at this table discussion. And I know that after this discussion, you're going to have a lot of women and men, as well as children, that are coming to access your services. And so thank you. You could be watching and listening and you're thinking, oh my God. And you know what? If you need any help, you're going through domestic abuse, any form of abuse, we have My Sister's Place based in Middlesbrough. They can help you. You can get in touch with them on 01642 241864. And I've got Jessica Taylor here, and you can also find them on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. They are there. You know, whether you have your husband who needs help, your children need help, you need help, don't suffer in silence. Get the help that you need, because these organizations are there to help you. And thank you so much for joining us. I hope you've been empowered. I hope you've been educated. And for myself, Lukandi Chidenyika, Women Today, with my guest here, Jessica Taylor, thank you so much. And thank you, Jessica, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.